It's upon us, and we're finishing our preparation for Iowa State and going to Dublin. We still have 2 more practices here in our facility, and then we'll have our Thursday practice over in Dublin. So we're in the going from camp to the game mode, as well as just all the logistics of the travel. It's good that our kids aren't in class probably right now, so we can handle all those things as well as continue our preparation. But we're excited for the opportunity. We know it's going to be a challenging game. We know Iowa State's a terrific football team, so doing a lot of things offensively, defensively, and special teams to give ourselves the best chance to be successful.
John Pastore and Terrence Enos are listed as the starting tackles on the depth chart. What do they kind of do to take those jobs?
Well, John being healthy, and we've talked about that in the spring and the summer of getting John back healthy, and he is healthy. He's playing really well to what we thought John was going to be before his injury, and now he's back healthy and almost, I think, is good or better than ever. So he's done a really good job of just kind of being steady and continuing his improvement. Terrence has been really successful sliding in and learning what we're doing. I think we've been fortunate with Terrence and JB that, getting here as late as they did, that they were able to learn our offense that quickly. And then, just having that veteran presence of Liney over there, they're all going to play.
I saw Gunnar Maldonado not listed for now.
Yeah.
Has availability in question?
It's still unavailable. He and Asa Newsom and Colby McAllister are all in question. I would say Colby would be the one that would be least likely to play. Asa and Gunnar, we're still hopeful, but they haven't taken probably as many practice reps. They've taken some, don't get me wrong. They've taken some reps, but not as many as some of the guys that have taken the lion's share of the game prep reps.
And aside from just being a very good team, does Iowa State do anything specifically to give you guys consistent problems?
I just think the consistency of what they do, being in that system and program for as long as they have, they don't beat themselves. And I guess if you'd look over the last couple of years, we've done things that have beaten ourselves, and then they've capitalized on those, whether it's turnovers and explosive plays, whatever you want to say. That's something that we've got to do a really good job of, is protecting the football and eliminating the explosive play. But they're really well coached and have really good talent. They've got as much talent coming back as any team in our league.
A game like this, how do you balance letting the guys have some fun in Ireland, but also focusing on this game?
Yeah, twofold on that. One, we're not out there that long, and we have some activities for them on Thursday prior to our practice, and then a pretty nice dinner on Thursday night where we're going to see a little bit of the city on Thursday night, and then Friday afternoon we have the pep rally. I think that'll be a really cool deal for them to get a feel for what Dublin's like and the fan base and how many people traveled to see them. But then, we're going to enjoy the time when we're doing those type things, but then we've got to have a business attitude when we have our practices, our meetings, and our walkthroughs. And I would say once we get to about 6 o'clock Friday night, it's pretty much like those kids that have been in the program know it would be up until game time.
Stress anything with them about how to handle this flight or get their bodies right for both this game and then after?
Yeah, everybody in our support staff has done a really good job from nutrition, hydration, sleep, recovery, activation. We've met about that. We'll meet again tomorrow evening, and then have some more details on Wednesday as far as how to handle the flight. And what we can't predict is how everybody's going to handle it. Who's going to sleep really well, who's not going to sleep really well. But I hope and plan that once we get over there on Thursday, and Thursday will be a tough day, honestly, for both teams, because we arrive about the same time, of going through your daily process and having a really productive Thursday, and then trying to get back on schedule and getting to bed Thursday night and not doing anything really early on Friday morning.
I want to ask about the defensive secondary. You got a whole lot of new starters there on the depth chart right now. Where is your confidence level in those guys? Just kind of starting over.
Yeah,
there.
I'm confident in VJ. Played a lot of football for us. We lose the two really good corners that we had, but we're going to play a handful of guys. Donnie Mack and Zayshawn Justice have maybe taken the most snaps, but Jaden Rowe will help us a little bit back there. Amarion Fortenberry will help us at corner. And then in our three safety defense, we've been really impressed with Quay Moss, as that field safety, the ones that you guys have seen, Siegel play and Josh Hayes and those guys. Quay's really done a nice job. Daniel Cobbs has done a nice job. So they'll kind of replace where Siegel was. And then, Wesley Fair's had a really good camp. Jack Fabris has had a really good camp. And so because we're down Colby and we're down Gunner back there right now, some guys are dual training at those three safety spots.
All right, week 0, you're the only game on. What does this team want to show?
Well, I think it's more within our walls that we need to show really good maturity and not worry about what the outside expectations and outside noises are. I think we want to show where our maturity has grown on offense under Coach Wells, being the second year with Coach Wells and Ave. The fact that we can be diverse offensively, and then on defense, I think it's how much better have we gotten of block destruction and they're going to have a hat on a hat. They're really good. They're going to have a hat on a hat. And can we get off blocks, make open field tackles, and can we communicate really well so that we're not missing a fit or missing a gap, because that's where they really beat you. If you don't fit things right, they got really good backs that can take it the distance.
What would it do for the mindset of this team to start out a season 1-0?
That's the goal every year, is to start 1-0 no matter who you're playing. I think it would do wonders for what we've done this offseason to prepare for this opportunity. I keep talking about it and cautioning everybody, this is not a one-game season. This is a 12-game season, and this is a really, really important game for the conference race. It's a really important game for both programs. It's a really important game for both fan bases. And I've talked to every coach that's played over there that it's not a one-off game and then you take a month off or you go into an off season. It is the first game, and it's a conference game. It's a valuable, important game. And then you've got to come back and reset for the journey. And I've been cautioned of teams that have won and played poorly coming back, and I've been cautioned with teams that have lost and not been able to regroup. So all of our attention is on this football game, without a doubt. Everybody's attention's been on this game for a while now. But when it's over, we have to be able to reset, and we have to be able to prepare, because that's where I don't know. That's where there's a lot of unknown, how quickly you get a football team back Sunday, Monday, Tuesday.
Yeah, I'm really excited to watch Tibbs. Mm-hmm. He was in here earlier. At what point did he kind of gain chemistry on the field with Avery? How quickly did that happen?
Yeah, I think it was what those two did kind of unrequired when we're not in charge of them or we're not around them, of what they did in the summer, what they did when Ave had guys, come and throw with him during June and July. And then I've just seen a guy grow with confidence as we've been in fall camp, been very, very productive in fall camp. Big target, as everybody knows, runs really good routes, has the ability to stretch the field as well as run unders and stuff. So I think the time that he and Avery have spent together, whether it's in the film room or whether it's just different routes on air, and getting that chemistry has been really fun to watch.
How quickly was he able to learn the offense?
He's a smart kid for sure, and he's played in diverse offenses before, and so I think it was a bigger thing of just learning the terminology and then gaining that chemistry. But he's a very, very savvy, smart football player.
So because of my duty on game day, I have the luxury of riding the team plane to Dublin. So I wanted to know, is there any rules I need to know or do's and don'ts of the team plane?
Oh boy. Yeah. Don't bother anybody on the way there. Okay. No. You're going to see a lot of guys watching film, a lot of guys probably getting some rest, some people maybe watching some movies. It's not because it's a little bit longer flight. It's going to be a lot of guys trying to catch up a little bit, and then on the way home it'll be guys recovering from the game and guys preparing for the next one. So there's not really any do's and don'ts on it. Ask Wyatt.
I will. What do you think about the camp for Rex Van Wy?
Rex had a really good camp, and he's a guy that we've challenged to really be able to learn both linebacker spots, and he's playing both inside spots. We haven't asked him to play the Sam spot where Dez plays, but we've asked him to play both inside spots at the Mike and Will, and so he can help where Romaine's at. He can play the Will with Gabe Powers. He's the guy that's kind of the swing guy. And Bo Palmer fits into that because Bo's still coming off of an injury. And Bo's going to be cleared to play, and he's going to help us. But he helps us on both those two spots so that, Ralph and Ralph Ortiz and Sam and Dez can just focus on the Sam spot.
Speaking of Ralph Ortiz, he's a guy that we haven't heard too terribly much about, especially compared to the other transfers. What has he done that's impressed you guys?
Just a business-like attitude and wanting to be a sponge and learn. And I've been impressed because I think he'll be a starter on at least 2, if not 3 special teams. So he's carving out a role there, and he's such a valuable spot because he backs up Dez at our outside linebacker. And as Ralph continues to gain experience and gain playing time, he'll be a guy that's going to be a factor for us all year long on defense. He's just behind a guy that's played for a lot of snaps and a lot of years, and he's learning from Dez. I think that's a neat thing is he's learning from Dez.
Logan Bartley is the guy that we've heard from tons of different people throughout this process. Now he's an oar at the top of the depth chart there as a true freshman.
Yeah, no,
that's pretty special.
It really is. And he missed a good portion of our spring, even though we didn't have a huge spring because he was coming off of an injury, so he was no non-contact. But he just listened and did a great job of being a sponge. And then when we got to captain's practices, he was cleared to do more and more stuff. He's a guy that's crazy. We've challenged him to learn a couple of the safety spots, a middle safety and then one of our outside safeties because of us being down some depth there. So he's had to learn a couple of spots, and he's going to play a lot of football for us. He's one that everything goes as planned is not going to redshirt and play. And he'll play on some special teams, and he'll play a couple of different safety spots.
About the special teams a little bit. Is Luis Rodriguez your kicker?
Yeah, he'll be the starting kicker when we go out there next Saturday. You bet. Kickoffs will probably still be Simon, but Luis will get the PATs and field goals right now.
What has Cody Stufflebean's leadership meant to the defensive end room?
Yeah, he's a guy that's been around a long time. He's as good a student of the game as anybody that I've seen or have had, as far as not only what he knows, but what he also tells the other defensive linemen and helps those guys. Stuff will tell you he had opportunities to go somewhere else and get a job and move on, and he wanted to continue to be a mentor for a lot of younger defensive linemen that are beginning to get some reps and play, and if that cuts down his reps a little bit and he can help some of those other guys, that's what he wants to do. And he's been such a valuable piece, and I think that gets shown because he's a 2-time captain now too.
And you mentioned the young guys in the defensive end room. Who's maybe a guy or two has stood out to you over the course of fall camp?
We're going to rotate so many guys there, so it's hard to say. If I picked one, I'd pick them all. So, we'll just do what we always do and rotate guys there.
Chris, you referenced maturity a little bit ago. Is there something about this team right now you don't feel like you know, and you're curious to see what fills in that blank?
Yeah, I think that's a question for us every year when we start off, is you don't have a lot of adversity, within a game. You have adversity at practice where offense beats the defense or defense beats the offense, but it doesn't show up on your record, doesn't show up at halftime when you got to make an adjustment. And that's something that I think we all know how our older guys that have played a lot of football will respond. But how will some of the newer guys that maybe they played at another institution that are coming to our place or just haven't played a lot? The one thing that I told both staffs, and I'll continue to preach both sides of the ball, the pictures are going to change. All the things that we are practicing in anticipation of what we may see from Iowa State, they're going to make tweaks. They're going to make adjustments. You can't play a team the last game of the regular season and then start them off and say, we're going to do the exact same thing on both sides of the ball and on special teams. So what adjustments? People do what they do. I think Iowa State does what they do on offense and defense, and I think we do what we do on offensive and defense. But there's going to be some different nuances, some different plays, some different alignments offensively that who can adapt and adjust, and that's where the veteran leadership's got to come through.
I don't recall you having that at North Dakota State where you played a team 3 times in less than 2 calendar years.
We played like South Dakota State like 9 times in 3 years. Played those guys all the time. Yeah, you say they. No, so we're accustomed to that, honestly. I think that's what makes this a terrific football game in the stage that it's on. It's not October 7th or November 1st or anything. The stage that it's on is two programs that know each other really well, that respect each other really well. The players know each other because they've played. They've got a number of guys that have played for 2 and 3 and 4 years. We have a number of guys that have played 2 and 3 and 4 years. So there's great respect. Now it's just going to be the chess match of who can make the adjustments the best and make plays.
Does the rise in your own tight end game over the last couple of years make it any easier to prepare for what they do and shifting their guys all around?
Yes and no. Yes, when we go our good-on-good period. No, because we go back to our roster reductions. We don't have as many guys on the roster, so we don't have as many tight ends as we would in the past. So that's changed our practice a little bit of doing some more ones against one, twos against twos, even in a game prep look, because it's not often where you have, if we're going to use 4 tight ends with our one offense to do 11 and 12 personnel, we don't have 5 extra tight ends to do 12 and 13 personnel like they're going to get into. And so we've been really creative with that. And, the Loftons, the Ancios, the Swanees, Oak, Metzger, those guys have been scout team looks for us as much as they've been top team looks for our offense, because our roster being down a little bit, you have to help each other out. And our guys have really done a great job with that, as far as a lot of our second team defense has given the looks for the Iowa State defense and vice versa.
Staying with the tight ends, can you describe what you've seen in terms of Luke Wells and his coaching, and for that matter, probably Brian LePac too? Yeah,
I think it's great that Brian is still around the room, so to speak, and we do a lot of different tight end tackle drills and communication. And so Luke's done a great job of utilizing Brian as well to ask him questions. Luke's a terrific coach. He's does a great job of building relationships with guys, challenging guys. Been very impressed with Luke. Been really impressed because Luke's not afraid to ask, whether it be Brian or one of the older tight ends, because they've been around here so long, and some of the similarities we've done on offense. Hey, how do you do this? What's the best way? But Luke's been a huge asset to us, and then I can't say enough good things about Drew Little helping that as well, because you can do some tight end tackle things, and then you have Drew that's working with the interior through. I mean, that has been really good for our offensive linemen, to to have 2 O-line guys that they have no problem, that are leading the meetings, leading the drills, that are coaching them.
You walk in Aviva Stadium the day of the game. You look up in the stands and you see K-State fans up there.
Mm-hmm.
You see the marching band and Frank Trice. What's going to be going through your mind?
Oh, boy. That it's finally here, right? That's the first thing, that we made it. And Casey Feldkamp would tell you the same thing, that we made it to that point because of the logistics of doing all this. I got a chance, many of you guys know, a week ago to go spend some time with the band. There's maybe no one I respect as much as I do Dr. Trace. The impact that he's had on young people for decades and decades, and the impact that he's had on me since I got here, and the relationship that he and I have built, it's been really special. And the relationship with the band, myself, and the band and the football team is really cool. But to see that stadium, it's going to be really neat. It's going to be, I got to realize it's a game once it gets started, just like I need to keep preaching to our players. Wherever we're playing, once we kick that thing off, it's a football game, whether it's at our place, at Jack Trice, or in Aviva Stadium, that we got to be where our feet are and be ready to execute and be able to adjust and stuff. But you're crazy if you don't pinch yourself to say, wow, what a moment that we're in right now. And the band's a huge part of that. Our fan base is a huge part of that. And the amount of people, I can't thank the fans that I've already heard have already been over there. Pictures of some of my friends that are over there that are probably partaking a little bit more than I probably will, that are having a blast. And I think that's a credit to K-State Nation. It's a credit to our fan base and how important our football team is to that fan base.
Real quick, Chris, with Big 12 introducing the media availability or player availability reports, do you think that's a good, bad thing, indifferent about it?
It allows me not to have to talk about it on Mondays, which is a great thing, so I can say, look at the report on Wednesday. But it'll be interesting to see. I haven't even begun to talk about that yet with our people because of all the things that we've had going on. I think once we get into a normal in-school weekly process, it'll be much easier. I just think all of us getting a feel for it. I don't know what the difference between questionable and probable is. I really don't. And I know it's 70% or 50%. I understand all that. But these guys are also 18 to 22-year-olds, and you don't know how they're going to respond. I wish we were a little bit simpler of out or not out, but I know that'll happen on game day. So I get why they're doing it. Makes sense.